Penelope Cruz, you play Donatella Versace in The Assassination of Gianni Versace. Now, you spoke with the real Donatella before taking this role. So now that all is said and done, do you know if she has had any thoughts about the finished product, if she's seen it, or if it maybe is even too difficult for her to see?
I don't know if she has seen it. She's been really nice to me. Like I know her just a little bit. I've seen her over the years here and there, but not a lot of times. But she's always been really kind and generous, and I've worn Versace for many occasions in the last 20 years. And I know she's surrounded by the same people for the last 20 years, and they all love her and respect her, and she's always been very kind to me. So that was the phone call that I had to do when Ryan offered this role to me. I was kind of shocked that he thought of me to play her, but then I thought about it and I thought it really makes sense, and I feel a lot of affection and admiration towards Donatella. So I wanted to do it, but I couldn't say yes before having this conversation with her, kind of asking for her blessing. And she was not involved in the series in any way. And she said to me, we had a long conversation, and she said to me, if somebody is gonna do it, I prefer that it's you. I guess she meant like she trusts me because she knows that I feel a lot of respect and affection for her. So honestly, that's what I did. It was my personal homage to her. You know, I play somebody that is really strong, really has an amazing, loving relationship with her brother, and she was one of the people she loved the most, and she lost him in the most terrible way. And I never met Gianni, but I was always a huge fan of everything that he did. So, you know, it was my chance to be playing somebody that I have always been a fan of and that I really, really admire.
What would you say is the most difficult part in preparing to play this role? It's very different from yourself, you know, in terms of her background, certainly.
The most challenging thing was finding a voice that when you hear me speaking, you don't hear myself. Not just the Spanish accent, because it's Italian, I'm Spanish, but also is getting the Italian accent, but in English. I learned Italian before for a movie called Don't Move, a movie that I did with Castellito. But I had to go back to that and get that in English, transfer it to English, but get Donatella's sound, because she has a very specific and unique way of communicating. And it's all the body language, and she's very rock and roll. That's what I wanted to get, you know, in me. And then it's not an imitation, of course. That's not what this is about. We all know that. But I just wanted to have. I am not the judge, you know. Now I cannot tell you if people, when you see, do you feel that she's somewhere there? Hopefully she is. But that's what I try to get. I try to get that essence and that very specific thing that she has in her way to communicate without trying to do an imitation. But that's where I tried.
And how much did you know about this story? Of course, you know, the death of Gianni Versace was well known publicly, how that happened, when it happened. But like the relationship behind the scenes between Donatella and Gianni, how much of that did you learn for the first time, or did you know about before?
I knew a little bit because I know a lot of people that have been with them, like Oribe, you know, the hairdresser, and people that have been with them in those moments backstage before the show. Like, and they all say they loved each other so much, and they made each other grow creatively. And they both talk about that in so many interviews that I have seen hours and hours of footage of the two of them. And I would never say something that I was not sure about, you know, like I know that creatively they push each other and they respect and admire each other, and I'm sure they had those very healthy creative arguments, but you know, like any brother-sister relationship. I became kind of obsessed, you know, with watching material of them. There are many interviews where they gave together, and especially those little moments. There is not a lot of footage of them backstage in those crazy few minutes before the show, but I found some, and you can see a lot about their personalities, their relationship, and the relation they had with creating, with fashion, like how they had this passion since they were little kids. And it was a very real thing. And I think it also came from their mother. And it was beautiful to see, like their art had these very solid roots, and they are both very, very, very talented. I mean, everything that he created, and she had to continue that. She had so much pressure in the moment of when she lost him and she was suffering so much. She didn't really get the time to recover before stepping into having to take care of this empire and keeping it growing, keeping it alive. And it's incredible what she did. It was very, very challenging moment, and she's done amazing things with the brand.
And being yourself considered a fashionable person, now getting to tell this story about these about these people who are really centrally involved in fashion. What was it like getting to explore that kind of creativity that Donatella had and Gianni had, and from your own experiences with fashion?
Well, I think the great ones, like she is, and Gianni was, or Karl Lagerfeld or Galliano, like the great ones, they are true artists. And you see that all the work that is behind a couture dress, and it's not a joke. You have like 20 people working on that with their hands, and it's an artisan way of working, and it's really beautiful to see. And it's their talent, and also a lot of very, very hard work. And I know a lot of them, and they work like machines. They work nonstop, and it's the combination of that and how brilliant they are. And it's interesting for me to get to see that other world, because I'm an actress. But it's true that fashion and movies have this kind of marriage, no? And they support each other. So it was always interesting for us to see how not just the main designers, but also somebody that is sewing a dress, and the relationship they have with that, with the material, and the passion that they have for what they do. I guess because I learned how to sew and knit with my grandmother, so I also have a relationship with that, and I'm a fan of it, and I really respect it. So.
And working with Edgar Ramirez, who plays Gianni, trying to develop this really complex relationship between these two. What was it like working with him as he was disappearing into that role?
I loved every second of working with him. I think he did an amazing job, incredible. I was seeing Gianni, and same with Ricky and with Darren. I think they are all great. They did amazing performances, and we all enjoyed very much the time we spent together, and with Ryan and everyone else. And I especially enjoyed the episode 7, where Edgar and I have all these creative arguments. It's like when you see more about this brother-sister relationship. And that became my favorite episode to shoot. And I didn't want it to finish. He and I click, and it was like so easy for us to understand each other, and that only happens sometimes. And we would look at each other and almost know what the other one was thinking. And he's very, very generous in the way he works, and I enjoy it very much.
And there was also a lot, besides the creative conflict between them, Donatello was also concerned about him coming out as gay, how the public would react if they would accept him. What was it like, developing that aspect of Donatella, how much she loved her brother, but she was a little bit pessimistic about how people would view him if they knew that side of him?
Well, I don't know, because in that episode there was another scene that we shot that is not in the final edit, but where she was actually asking him to do the opposite. So it's like there was, that conflict of before saying, be careful, maybe you don't have to share that much. And then she was saying, you know what, the most important thing is that you are true to yourself and just do whatever you feel you have to do. And whatever you feel you have to share with the world, you share it. And that comes first, before business and everything else. And that didn't end up in the episode. But that's actually what we shot both. And I cannot speak for herself, but I'm sure there was a little bit of everything there, no? At that time, imagine. And not that things have changed so much in the world, unfortunately, in that way, no? That people have to still be so worried sometimes. That's about what they have or what they should or not should share about their private life. It's unfortunate that they have to be worried about it, no? But in some ways, we have not evolved so much.
Another very complex relationship in the series is between Donatella and Antonio. And what's interesting about that dynamic is that they both have so much love for Gianni and so little love really often for each other. What was it like working with Ricky Martin, playing that dynamic where you both share this love but also kind of clash very much?
That was difficult for us because we like each other very much, and I had to be very tough with him in some scenes, for the reasons that you're saying, and it's difficult to be tough with Ricky because he's such an angel, he's a very, very nice man. But the same that I had with Edgar, great collaboration, great. With Darren, I don't have scenes with him. I hope I do in some other project because he has an incredible talent. But we spent some time with him also, and I felt like I was surrounded by all these incredible, talented and nice people, and Super Ryan, who is incredible. Everything that he's doing is. I always wanted to work with him, and we met years before, and I was very happy when he called me because right now he's like the king of TV, and he's doing projects that are very interesting with very interesting subjects, and I'm very honored to be part of his team in this one.
And this is your first time working in American television. You're best known for a film. What was it like? Was it a different experience in terms of the production? Taking on a series as opposed to a one-shot film.
It was very different because, like you're saying, in a film you have the time to, maybe you're gonna do one scene per day. Some days you're gonna do two, but on TV you're gonna do 5 or 6. And they're gonna throw changes at you on the same morning. I was giving a new monologue on the day before, but this is very, very good also for actors. I think for me, of course I was scared about that rhythm, but it's a great exercise, and I would do it again in a second. I mean, I would love to be able to combine both, but the incredible experience that it is to be able to explore a character for a longer time, not just for something that is going to be, for even if you are the lead of a movie, you're never even going to be there in those 2 full hours. So if you have I can imagine what it would be, the obsession with a character that you get to play for a longer series. It would be very, very interesting for me as an actress to get to do that one day, to live with that character for such a long time that you really, really get to know and to explore who that person is. This is very fascinating, and I always knew it was going to be like that, but now that I have tried it, I didn't want to say goodbye to the character. When we finished, I felt like you feel so much love for that character. No, it's not about liking them, not liking them, but you are in that process with them, getting to know who they are, and when you start seeing new things, and it's the end. No? So one time I have to try what it is to get one of those that you do for years.
And what do you hope, now that all is said and done, all the episodes have aired, and people can watch it? What do you hope people take away from this story the most?
Well, the thing, I could not tell you one single thing, because he, like in all the projects that he does, Ryan, he touches so many subjects that are important, no? That open a debate. And and I think that's why he's so good and so loved and so respected, because, every time he brings something new, is, even if it's just a musical, it's never just a musical. There's always, like, I'm not saying musical is easy, actually. That's why there is so little of it done, because it's so hard. But he's always touching subjects that are like for today, things that we need to talk about today, even if he's doing something that happened like 20, 30 years ago, but things that we still need to resolve today and to talk about. No? I like that very much about Ryan. In many ways, he reminds me a lot Pedro Almodovar. And they have the same passion for what they do, but they always choose subjects that matter. Not that movies or TV, not that anybody's doing it to change the world, but it can always contribute to bring up a discussion and to move things around. No?
Well, I want to congratulate you on that miniseries, and congratulations also on your Emmy nomination for the series. Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.